When I was in 6th grade, my parents shared with me that they had not graduated from college and neither had their parents. If I did, I would be one of the first in my entire family to earn a degree, and that was my goal. Entering 10th grade, I decided to step out of my comfort zone by trying out for the boys' soccer team. I remember the coach arrived and he had the first drill set up for us. There were cones lined up from one side of the field all the way to the other side. And the purpose of that drill was to show that we could dribble the ball through the cones. The ball was on the floor and it was my turn and I started dribbling right, left. And the coach was on the other side of the field and he said, "Andale, right, left, andale," which means hurry up, go faster. Yeah, see, I knew that, but he was so far away, it sounded like he was saying, "Handle it." So I'm there saying, "Yeah, Richard, you got that, handle the ball, And then when I look up, the coach is saying, "Andale, andale, andale." And he's looking right at me because I was not going fast enough. Needless to say, I was horrible at everything soccer, but I made the team. I was the JV boys soccer bench warmer that season. Yes. In 11th grade, I joined the leadership class, and my senior year, I was the student body president, the homecoming prince, and the prom king. But with all those social titles that came my way, I will never forget the most important part of my senior year, college application time. Being from Los Angeles, I said, I'm going to start with the UC app and apply to UCLA or UC Santa Barbara. And I remember I sat down at my computer and I typed in that application, and when I went to the requirement page, one of the first ones I read was, must have a 3.0 grade point average or higher. And I said, I don't have that. That means I can't apply to a UC school? I didn't know that. But I said, you know what, it's okay because I'll go to a Cal State. I typed in that Cal State application, I went to the requirement page, and I found one that said, must have C's or better in all 4 years of English. I don't have that either. That means I can't apply to a Cal State? I didn't know that. And when it finally clicked, and I realized my grades were so bad in high school, I couldn't even apply to a 4-year college in California, I felt like a total failure. I was able to graduate high school on time, and I enrolled at Glendale Community College. I got a job at an elementary school as a teacher assistant, and I really focused on my grades. I put in effort, I got help. My first 2 semesters, I earned a 4.0. But then my 3rd semester arrived, and I'll never forget this specific day. I woke up and I went to work. I got off work, I drove straight to school. I got there a little early, and as I was walking to class, all of a sudden, boom, pa! I felt like there was this pain that went straight through the left side of my body. I didn't know what it was, but it hurt, it was uncomfortable, it was kind of hard to breathe. I remember I checked around, I said, okay, there's no blood, you didn't get shot, that's good, but what just happened, I don't know. I went to my sociology class, I went home that night, I went to bed, I woke up the next morning and I drove to work. I was at the elementary school for no more than 15 minutes. It was getting nearly impossible to breathe and I started turning pale. They drove me to the hospital. When I got to the emergency room, the doctor said, we have to figure out what's wrong with you. We're gonna give you an x-ray. So they took me back to the x-ray room and they performed the x-ray. And 30 minutes later, when the doctor came into the room, he said, Richard, your lung collapsed. I said, I got class at 4 o'clock, do what you gotta do, right? Within 5 minutes, there were 3 doctors in their blue scrub uniforms that came into my room, and they had these 2 needles. They poked me twice, they put me to sleep, and when I woke up an hour later, I had a tube coming out of my chest. And when I saw the tube, I said, dang, I'm not going to class tonight, huh? I was gonna be stuck in a hospital, and the doctor said, Richard, you're gonna be in this hospital for 3 days. On that 3rd day, the doctor came in, he took the tube out, and everything was okay. I was healthy again. 1 month passed. I was showering before work. I took 1 step outside my shower. Boom, pa! It happened again. I went to the emergency room, and when I got there, I said, doctor, my lung collapsed. He said, okay, let's give you the x-ray. He took me back to the x-ray room, and they performed the x-ray, and 30 minutes later, when he came back, he said, Richard, your lung collapsed. I said, I know, I just told you that, right? So within 5 minutes, there are 3 doctors in their blue scrub uniforms in my room, and they're gonna have those 2 what? And they're gonna poke me twice and put me to sleep. When I wake up, I had a, and he's gonna say, Richard, you're gonna be in the hospital for. Good, you know the story, all right. On that 3rd day, the doctor came in, he took that tube out. Boom, pa. Richard, this is gonna happen to you for the rest of your life unless you get a major procedure done. There are 7 blebs on your lung, which are thin pockets of tissue. We have to go inside, staple those 7 blebs, and glue your lung to your chest wall. I said, you ain't gluing anything inside of my body. This ain't our project. I pictured some Elmer's glue going up in there, right? It was not about to happen. But I had no choice. I went into surgery the next day. It took me 3 weeks to fully recover from that surgery. I missed all my midterms at Glendale College. But when I was healed, I went back. And when I went back to school, all 4 of my professors said the same thing. You've missed too much work. There's no way you're going to pass, so we advise you to withdraw. And I was, but I decided against it, and I decided to make up the work and get the best grades I could. And it was tough, but I stayed committed. At the end of the semester, after my finals, I got my grades online, and when I looked at them, they said, A, 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 A. I did it. I proved them wrong, and I was so proud of myself. Yeah. I said, it's time to transfer. Growing up in Glassell Park, Occidental College was a few blocks away, and that was my dream school, but I never thought I could ever get into this place. So I said, maybe I can. At my computer, I typed in the application, I read through the requirements, and I met them all. I put my application together, and I sent it in. And Occidental College told me, Richard, you're going to find out whether you get accepted or not on May 17th. That's my birthday. So I was so excited to hear that. And I had to wait many months for my birthday to roll around. But when it got here on that day, I went to work. And when I got off work, instead of driving straight to school, I was driving straight home. I got in my car. My heart was racing. And I told myself, you've been waiting for this day since you were in 6th grade. I got home. I parked the car. I ran up to the porch. And when I opened up the mailbox, the first letter that popped out was the one that said, to Richard Reyes from Occidental College. I opened up the letter and I read it. It said, Dear Richard, we regret to inform you you did not get accepted to Occidental College. I fell to the floor on that porch and I just started crying. I thought for sure I was getting in and I didn't. And over the next few weeks and few months, I became depressed. I didn't know what the next step of my life was going to be. I thought I had wasted all this time and college just wasn't supposed to be for the Reyes family. But something in me said to try it again. And I had the courage to listen to that voice. And a semester later, I went back online to that same website and made sure I still met all the requirements. And when I realized I did, I sent in a different application. And many months went by, but on the second time when I was going to figure out whether I got in or not to Oxy, when I woke up that morning, I felt like my heart was in my stomach. I thought I was going to throw up all day long at work. But when I got off work, I was going to drive straight home. I got in my car. I drove home as fast as I could. I parked the car. I ran up to the porch. I opened up the mailbox, and I sorted through every single letter that was in the mailbox that day. And there was nothing from Occidental College. And I was like, what does that even mean? And then I saw there was this package on the floor. And when I walked over to the package and picked it up, when I flipped it over, the outside of the envelope said, Welcome to Oxy, Richard Reyes. And I fell to the floor again and cried like a little baby. I was at Occidental College for 2 years, and I earned my bachelor's degree in critical theory and social justice. I then took a semester off of school, and I enrolled at Cal State LA, where I earned my master's degree in education. And now, as a Latino, first-generation college student, and someone who graduated from North Hollywood High School with a 2.3 grade point average, I had a lot of statistics against me, and I was not supposed to have earned a master's degree by the time I was 25, but I did. Today, I get to share my story and work with thousands of middle and high school students every single year with a nonprofit that I launched called the Plus Me Project, and we get to support students with discovering their stories and sharing them. Thank you so much.